For those of you who might be keeping count, this week, Reform have lost 2 councillors from Northumberland, 2 from Cornwall, 1 from Kent, because we didn't talk about him recently, but yeah, he got his whip removed and then suspended, and now is being further investigated because he was making lewd comments to council staff. So that's 5. Surely before the week ended, they couldn't have lost a 6th councillor, could they? Oh, that's right, they have. 6 councillors in 1 week. I will tell you this now. I am going to have to start using some of these banners that I've got here to start keeping chat on this, because I can go like with this is how many councillors we've lost this week. I need to start doing this. I need to set up one of these. So this is how many they've lost this week. This is how many they've lost this month. I need to start keeping count, because I've lost count. Generally, I have lost count of how many they've lost. I've only been noticing this week because so many have gone in 1 week, which, to be honest, isn't surprising. But 6 in 1 week is pretty spectacular. Any other party, this had happened to, and there would be stories for like a day or two about how the local I don't know, Lib Dems, Labour, Tories, etc., are collapsing. But no, still shocks me that a lot of the national media has not yet cottoned on to the fact that a lot of these reform councils are an absolute mess. They're an absolute shower of incompetence that literally cannot keep still long enough for them to not do something. These are the type of people who start playing Jenga, and immediately, like on their first move, the entire tower comes tumbling down, only to then reassemble it, and then again, first move, oops. But anyway, more into this guy who's resigned today, marking again 6 people. God. Anyway, before we get more into this today, please do remember, of course, to click on the like, share, and of course, subscribe button down below. Don't forget, of course, to ring the bell as well, so you get notifications of when we drop a new video or when we go live. There are, of course, links down below to the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there's the YouTube membership down below as well. There is the link up there for the Patreon page as well, the little QR code we've got. And of course, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, as always, let's crack on into this. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment down below about what you think about all this. But anyway, let's crack on then, shall we? So, Reform cabinet member resigns now from county council. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. So, the Reform UK councillor now in charge of SEND, that's Special Needs and Education Disabilities Provision in Derbyshire, has now resigned from the county council. Let's find out why. So, Jack Bradley was elected back in May as Reform UK took control of the council and was appointed the cabinet member for education and SEND. The party, he said, was, quote, standing down for personal reasons, which the BBC understands to be health-related. There will now be a by-election in his Long Eaton North division, now in due course. Again, personal reasons. We've seen this before. Do we believe it? I don't, quite frankly. I think this guy knew what was going on. I think he knew he wasn't up to the task. I think he got while the getting was good. Because I'll tell you now, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Derbyshire with their leader, who came out of nowhere recently and said, "Yeah, I want to fire like 20% of my staff." Anyway, meanwhile, of course, Reform now has also gained a councillor in Derbyshire after the defection of the former Conservative Paul McGuinness. Reform's council leader, Alan Greaves, said they wished Bradley well for the future. Greaves stressed that the education role was, of course, very important and would now name a successor in the coming days. The leader of the Conservative group in Derbyshire, Alex Dale, said the new cabinet member needed to be appointed to, quote, get a grip of a really complicated and sensitive brief. And it is. It's one of the most, if you look at local council and how involved this brief is, it is a really important role. A really important role. Probably one of the most important, probably next to adult social care on councils. Probably like the two most important roles. If you elect someone who has no clue what they're doing, then yeah, bad things happen. Bad things happen on this. Important decisions don't get made. Ridiculous decisions happen to come about. Remember, in Leicestershire, where still, for some ungodly known reason, it's a 19-year-old, he is still living off the fact that his Conservative predecessor ran a pretty good department and was a pretty good cabinet minister. And he is lucky. But, as I said before, sooner or later, that runs out. And we are coming up to the point now where we have seen Reform claiming a lot of, previous administration, successes and claiming it as their own. Really now, this is it. There's not a lot of other things they will be able to claim soon. So we are getting to that point where they need to start making their own decisions. They actually need to come up with, coherent policies in these areas. So we'll see. Anyway, back to this. Last year, of course, a very damning Ofsted report came out finding very widespread and systemic failings in the Conservative-run Derbyshire Send provision. Reform, of course, declined to comment further on Bradley's decision to stand down, but the party said it was, quote, delighted to have, of course, Mannings on board. He said, we welcome anyone who shares our vision of integrity, accountability, and meaningful change to join us, a spokesperson said. Oh, yeah, really. Integrity and accountability. Bear in mind, you've just lost a councillor this week for, a councillor down in Kent making lewd comments to council staff. Integrity, accountability in not Derbyshire, Durham. They've just blocked opposition councillors from having a meeting with the local government agency that was basically giving a brief for of what the council was recently. We just did that just a couple of days ago. Why did you block them from this meeting? What are they hiding? Now they've come out and basically, bear in mind, interviewed themselves and saying, "Oh, look, yes, this local government report said we're absolutely amazing, said we're absolutely fantastic." Meanwhile, if you read between the lines and how selective they have been, it makes a few interesting references to stuff that weirdly weren't commented upon. Why did they say something like that? That's kind of odd, you know. So in January, when that report comes out, I have to wonder, well, what other stuff they're going to do. But if I were a councillor up there, I'd be trying to go to the LGA and getting that report myself. Anyway, back to this. So Mannings, who was of course first elected on the Tory ticket back in 2019, said the party had, quote, let him and party had, quote, left him and the reform was now the future. Jumping ship. Tory leader Dale, who had accused Reform Council now of breaking election promises, admitted, of course, he was disappointed, but he had no hard feelings towards Mannings. Probably because this was one of the guys who was probably a complete no-hoper on that front. He added that his party, of course, would be fighting the by-election triggered by the resignation of Bradley with All We've Got. The council leader of the Labour group, Anne Clark, said that resulting by-election would have cost thousands of pounds now of taxpayers' money. Sadly, of course, this comes as no surprise, as there is just more chaos now from Reform, with yet another councillor now stepping down after only just a few months in the post, she said. After now a debacle over the closure of the local adult SEND centres behind closed doors, this utter failure to improve any of the dire state of the SEND services now for some of the county's most vulnerable children, we know that Reform just isn't up to the job. Personal reasons, yeah. We saw a lot of councillors at the beginning. Oh, I've just been elected, but I have to leave because of personal reasons. The catch-all term. Hmm. Again, it might be true, but I don't think so. I'm calling ball on this. I think this guy realized the position he was in, the responsibilities he would have to do, because some of these are again legal requirements. If something bad happens, well then the buck stops with him. He's the one making all the decisions. So yeah, I think he left because I think he realized just how bad it was. So he got out. And we've seen this constantly from a number of Reform councillors, all just leaving for personal reasons. Now, I'm calling ball on that for sure. But anyway, as always, let me know what you think about all this. Are you from Derbyshire? What do you think about this chaos going on in your town council? And as always, leave a comment down below. Click on the like button, click on the share button, subscribe, of course, if you are new. Don't forget to ring the bell. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.